Okay, welcome to the Survivalist. This is my first video, so bear with me. I'm just going over a few tools that I use whenever I'm outside in the wilderness and stuff like that. Now, I don't suggest carrying this stuff with you every time you go out, but I find all of these things very useful, and I keep them on hand. And if I'm going to be in the woods for any length of time, I do carry pretty much all this stuff with me. First thing I'm going to go over with you is a machete, which anybody who spends a lot of time outside knows the importance of a machete. It's a very multi-purpose tool. The length is the advantage of that, keeping your hands out of the brush and such while you're chopping. Anything bigger than your wrist, though, for a machete, especially the thinner ones, it's going to be kind of a difficulty. It's going to take you a while to chop that. I've modified this one with a little bit of a curve right there on the edge to give it more bite, and I have eliminated the edge right here so that I could put some tape on it, and I've contoured it to be ergonomic for my hand so I can choke up on it. And I changed the bevel right there and made it a little bit steeper so that I could do finer tasks. This second thing I'm going over with is my Becker BK9. This is what I generally carry because it's a good compromise between my machete and my hatchet, and it's a lot lighter weight. Plus it has a pouch right here that I put various items in. Also on this one I have changed the contour of the edge to give it more bite. I like the swoop design. It has a lot of purpose to it for shaving sticks and stuff. If you want to make like a staff, it works really good for that. And you can put your hands on, both hands on top of the blade in a downward motion like that to shave off any bark and such. It works really good for batoning, a lot better than a machete because it's thicker. It doesn't have as much flex. Also, as most of my things, they're 1095 steel. It's easy to sharpen, and it holds a good edge, and it gets really sharp. It comes with this small knife. It's called the BK13. It's stainless, I believe 440 or 420. I put grip tape on it, which is what I do with a lot of my stuff, and then I wrapped it with some linen cord and added a little lanyard right there so that I could put my pinky in there. That way I don't drop it whenever I'm using it. It's a pretty good multi-purpose knife. It's small. It gets in those little spots. It works pretty good for dressing meat and stuff like that. I've opened tuna cans with it and still been able to bone a chicken. So it's pretty good all around little knife. Mainly its purpose is backup, and also I use it with this magnesium striker here. And with these two items I've started a fire with wet timber, being that I live in Florida and it's pretty humid and it rains a lot. I've still been able to get a fire going. Next up is this Gerber pack saw. It comes with two blades, a wood blade and a bone blade. The bone blade works also for making finer cuts in wood and stuff like that. I find this very useful because it gives a good clean edge to something that you're working on. That way you don't have to worry about tearing your tarp whenever you're making shelter. This one right here is an updated version of their older pack saw, which it comes with the little lock here on the back, which is nice. Makes it a lot easier to get to and handle. Big fan of the Gerber stuff and the Becker lines. This is a Gerber pack axe right here. As you can see, I use it a lot too. It's really good for the splitting of timber and stuff like that, for getting the fire. It works really good, and for falling fairly large trees. It works a good deal better than the Bowie, but like I said, the Bowie's pretty much the compromise between a machete, which is good for lighter stuff, and the hatchet, which is good for the heavier stuff. Mainly, if I can get out, I'll take this, the saw, and the axe, and keep the machete at hand for when I'm walking down the trails and stuff to clear my path. These, whenever equipped with this sling I use here, that I keep a carabiner, I got a little fishing kit in there, and I keep this little cheap flashlight. Even if it's not waterproof, but if it gets wet, it still works and it dries out pretty easy. If you know what you're doing, you can rig those up to start a fire also, but I don't recommend destroying your only means of light whenever you can simply just carry something like this or one of the piston style fire starters. Okay, I used to have a Becker patrol machete, and when I was clearing some land I went across a center block and I broke the machete. This is nothing like the profile of the original machete. It's been changed. It was much wider, and if any of you are familiar with the patrol machete, you know what I'm talking about. This is also a lot shorter. It was actually about that long, I'd say. I made this one here. This is the first knife I ever really made. It doesn't count from scratch. I made it from something that was already there, so I didn't forge this or anything, but I was careful not to destroy the temper in the blade. And this one was a little bit further experiment. I chose to keep the blade thin for dressing small game, and I kept the point there, changed that up and gave it a little sharper point for drilling into wood and such. Give it a little bit more versatility as opposed to my larger blades that I carry. This is the one that I usually carry because I get the belly out of the BK 9 and the BK 13 right there. I get those smaller rounded edges with those knives, and with this one I've added some serrations right there, as you can see, for cutting line and stuff. It's a pretty balanced knife. It fits well in the hand. It's got a nice contour to it. This is something that not many people use in their outdoor kits, is a shovel, and I don't understand why. It should be one of the first things you get, is a sturdy little camp shovel, especially this Cold Steel. They make a lot of good products, and cheap machetes, I wouldn't say cheap, they're affordable and very good quality as far as the price is concerned. This is a Special Forces shovel. You know, I got the grip tape on there because I do that, so I don't have to worry about my hands sliding whenever I'm wet. This right here, I've actually had to dispatch a rabid possum out of my camp with it before, and it crushes skulls pretty good, as well as digging holes for my campfire. I use it lots of times to remove roots and stuff like that for my bedding wherever I'm going to be laying for the night. It's good all around. I've actually used it, you know, to like clear a little bit of land, you know, just smaller stuff at the root whenever I was too lazy to walk over and get my machete, or I didn't want to ding up the edge in the soil. I don't really carry binoculars with me too often because I can see pretty good, and I live in Florida and it's pretty dense around here. But you guys that live in the mountains, if you do get lost, this is something I suggest you bring, because it will help you to look for signs of help. And us flatlanders and stuff like that, it can come and help use too for us if you just want to do some like nature searching and things like that. I suggest, if you're gonna be outside a lot, you get one of these. It's just a little stainless steel cup. Works pretty good for all kinds of stuff. You can boil your water in there. Iodine tablets taste horrible, by the way. You can use your shirt as a filter. Filter it a couple times, boil the water, get it boiling real good. Once it's hot, you know, it kills the bacteria. Most bacteria won't survive over 140 degrees unless you're in some kind of a foreign country. Then you might be in trouble. I hope you don't ever get in a wilderness survival situation over there. This is my ground pack right here. I use this tarp to sleep on. keep me off of the wet ground, stuff like that. Also, if I set up a large area as shelter, I sometimes incorporate this as the door, but for the most part I double it up and use it as a ground tarp. I got two different kinds of cord on here because those come in handy. The more rope you got, the better off you'll be. For all practical purposes, I usually travel out with my pack. You know, I keep my my Becker 9 and my machete, and I'm pretty good with those things, and of course my shovel. I just rig this up with my shovel like this and wrap it up in the tarp, and like I said, I keep the machete at hand for getting things out of my face, like limbs and cobwebs and such like that. Now, these are a couple other things that you might want to take with you if you're going to be out there for a time. I always double prepare for every situation. Like I said, I keep my fishing kit over here in my strap. I got extra line right here. I mean, you don't got to carry that much. It's just convenient for me to leave it on the spool. I don't mind the extra weight. This is a Sierra cup. I've used this as a shovel in an emergency, and it works really well for cooking and stuff like that. It's got a little wire handle. This is something that you really should get, and you can just slip it under your belt. You slip that under your belt like that, and it'll stay on your hip. I've never had mine fall out, and I've taken some tumbles with it. It did hurt me when I landed on it, but it didn't come out, and I didn't lose it. This is what I usually end up cooking, whatever game I've caught while I'm out there, meat, stuff like that. And if I did bring meat with me, which I usually don't, this is what it gets cooked in. It's just a little bit bigger. In here, I got some line wrapped around the outside. I got fishing line wrapped around the outside. And I got a fishing kit in here, some matches, which I don't really use those that much because I can start a fire from a magnifying glass or my magnesium starter over there. Also, I have some tin foil in there in case I need a signal, make a signal, so I can get me some help. Pretty much that's it. I can pack it all up together in one little pack. It's usually about this size right here. When I get done, it's about the size of that tarp, and everything fits nicely inside, as you can imagine. There will be more videos to come, and I'm going to show you in some of my later videos how this stuff performs in the field and different techniques I use that I've come across in my experiences in the wilderness. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed it.